Hey guys, it's Moonlander back with another horror movie review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the new found footage horror anthology movie, The Dark Tapes. Now this movie has two directors listed, Vincent Gustini, who looks to be for the most part a makeup artist, and Michael McCown, who is a pretty new director. He didn't really have much listed on IMDb. And this movie has a listed budget of $65,000. So, yeah, it's definitely a low budget movie.
Look at the place.
This is bizarre.
No, it's not bizarre. It's what happens when you let Steve... Hold on. This is ridiculous.
Is this blood? What about that camera?
So, in this anthology, you get 4 short stories, and the first short story is broken up and used as a transition as well as just being one of the shorts, and there's no real connection between any of the stories. Okay, the movie starts off with this college professor and his assistant and a filmmaker filming some sort of sleeping experiment, and it was kind of hard to understand exactly what they were doing, like investigating like parallel universes, or maybe whatever, trying to discover what sleep paralysis really was. I'm not really sure. And it switched to the second story, just when it was starting. So it was a little bit disorienting to me. I didn't really understand what was going on at the beginning of the movie. And then the second story jumps in, and you get a story about a couple that live in a seemingly haunted house, and they call in paranormal investigators, and this short ends with a surprise ending. It seems like your typical found footage, haunted house kind of story, but it has a surprise ending, and I didn't expect it at all, and it was kind of cool. And then for the third story is about these cam girls, 2 lesbian cam girls. And the one girl basically wanted to get away from her religious upbringing, and I guess met this lesbian woman and moved in with her, and they started doing webcam performances. And basically, the woman she moved in with is like basically a demon, and is basically getting this girl that moved there to do her bidding. This one was definitely unique, and it was pretty cool as well. And then the fourth story, but not the last story to conclude. Well, and then the last story was about alien abduction, and basically this woman is trying to figure out how to stop these aliens from abducting her. I mean, she gets her friends to try to help, and it's kind of cool. I don't know what I thought of that one exactly. So basically the good things about this anthology was it had surprisingly decent acting, I thought, and I thought all the characters were believable, and everybody pretty much performed their roles in a believable fashion, I thought. I was really kind of surprised at how good the acting was for this low budget of a film. And there was definitely some creepy parts in this movie. They definitely did some different things. And I really liked some of the scares that they implemented in this movie. I thought it was pretty well done in, as far as that department goes. And another thing I liked about this anthology is I thought all of the stories were unique and somewhat original ideas. I mean, it kind of reminded me of like watching the VHS movies. Like, you just didn't know what you were gonna get. I mean, they were pretty creative, I thought. And as far as found footage movies go, sometimes you find the camera work takes you out of the realism of it actually being just cameras that happen to catch these events. And this found footage movie, I thought all of the camera work was believable and realistic into what they captured and what they showed as far as telling the story of each of these short stories. And then as far as bad things about this movie is some of the shorts used like distortions in the camera, I guess to signify a paranormal event happening near the camera. And I've seen this happen in some other found footage, and I'm not a fan of it. Like, I know what they're trying to do, but I think they overdo it sometimes on these movies, and I think this one's guilty of it as well. And I guess probably the biggest issue I would have with this is when I watch an anthology movie, and I love them, and I'm a pretty big fan of found footage, is one of the best part about anthology movies is when they have a storied transition between each story. It just makes the experience a lot funner. Like, so let's say you watched a short you really liked, and then you're rewarded with another part of a story that's usually pretty good and interesting, and you're waiting to find out more about it. And even if there's one that's bad, then you know after it, you know you're going to find out more during the transition of what the story is tying these stories together, or you know what connects them, or it, you know, just something to it. It doesn't even have to be a good transition. I just really like it when they do that. And the last thing I would say I didn't like about this movie is I didn't know anything about this before watching it. All I knew was that it was that it was coming out today, and it was horror. And I'm trying to review movies that are new in horror, so I wanted to make sure to get this one. And I'd seen other people had done reviews on this. I didn't watch them. I just thought, well, I'll be surprised by it when I finally get to see it myself. And I found like the first 15 minutes of this movie really disorienting. Like, I didn't understand if it was even an anthology, to tell you the truth. I just noticed they were doing some sleep experiments, and all of a sudden you're looking at this couple in the house, and I'm just trying to figure out if it's like the same story or not. I mean, you know, shortly after that, you realize that yes, it is an anthology movie, and the first story they show is eventually gonna keep going. It's just used as the transition between stories. And yeah, I didn't really care for that. So my final thoughts on this movie is this is a decent found footage and a decent anthology movie. And being a decent found footage movie is really saying something these days. I watch a lot of them. You know, I've mentioned that before on my channel. Like, I really think my wife's really sick of them, but I don't know why. I just always want to watch them. I guess I'm trying to, like, relive experiences I've had with good ones, so... But, yeah, they're few and far between, so... Yeah, but this one is pretty good. But I wouldn't say, if you're not a fan of found footage at all, like, this movie isn't gonna change your mind. But if you like some, this one's definitely worth watching. So I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. And I do suggest it if you at least like some found footage horror movies, because it is decent. Alright, you guys, thanks for watching, and please like or dislike or comment and subscribe. Thank you.